James Kaufman, World News Report today, January 11th, 2025, 1:11. God bless you and yours, no matter where you are in the world. Please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ring that bell for critical future updates. Ladies and gentlemen, they continue to hack my volume. If it goes down, I will fix it. Breaking images emerging from Los Angeles are jarring. Jonathan Hunt found tiles painted by preschoolers from a church. Blah, blah, blah. Bill McGowan encountered two individuals returning to a decimated structure. Pray for LA, folks. Pray for LA. Let's see what we can get.
The Los Angeles County wildfires are approaching 36,000 acres burned across the city. At least 10 people are dead, thousands of homes and businesses left in ashes. Firefighters are currently battling 5 fires with some percent containment, which is the one encouraging note we have. Time-lapse video shows just how fast-moving these fires can be. Look at that. Imagine that roaring fire approaching your home. That was the reality for...
That is a time-lapse picture, so that's not the reality. But we love Kelly anyway.
For so many in LA. We begin with Jonathan Hunt in Pacific Palisades. Jonathan.
And that, Kaylee, was the reality for thousands, and a terrifying reality it was among those who had to literally run for their lives, and in many cases be helped to run for their lives, were children who were here at the Methodist Church preschool. And as you can see, if they hadn't been able to get out of here, you can just imagine what would have happened. This is
the most incredible thing is we've only had 10 people pass away in this. We should all say a prayer just for that.
Result of the fire for this building. You can see parts of the church tower still standing, and I just want to show you a little glimpse. We're talking about tiny little kids here, and there's a tradition at this church school that at the end of every year, when they graduate, the kids paint a tile, put their name on it, and leave it. They were all affixed to this wall, all the way around this wall. Year after year, the kids did this, and now they're all lying on the ground here. Yesterday, as we were here, some parents were coming along, and they were sifting through the rubble all around here, just trying to find their child's tile. This was a much-loved school in this community. I just want to pan back up, Brian, if you can, to the left. You were talking a lot about looters before and the law enforcement effort to keep them out. We've got there an LAPD chopper flying over the scene. They're taking a look at everything. There are a lot of black and whites we've seen driving around here as well. Just keeping an eye on everything right now. But again, this is the devastation. And as we look up the street here, you can see how much there is behind me. I want to take you across here if we've got time, Brian. Let's just take a walk over here. So we're in the parking lot behind the Methodist Church. You can see how much destruction there is. And then we've talked a lot this week about Palisades Charter High School. That is the high school there. You can see parts of it. 30% of that has been destroyed. 3,000 children attend that school. All of them and their parents are still waiting for word as to whether they will be allowed back from their winter break, which...
How can someone be so stupid that they can't realize those kids are not going back to school this week? I mean, he's from the UK, but gosh, is he really, really dumb, folks.
A winter break, which is to conclude on Monday. We don't know yet. We're still waiting for that word. And then, Brian, I don't know if you can get this far, if you've got enough cable, but I want to show you down here. There's a lot of talk always about the Palisades being home to a lot of wealthy movie stars and producers. Well, there's a lot of ordinary middle-class Americans who live here too. These are all small homes and apartments. You can see.
This guy is so blinded. My friend owns a 2-bedroom, 1-bath bungalow built, well, many moons ago. It sold for $2.4 million in Santa Monica. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a little bungalow. There's no middle class people there. You're just stupid.
those homes. It is a tragedy for thousands and thousands of people in this community, and as we now know, other communities around LA. It is going to take a long, long time for this neighborhood to recover from this, and for the thousands and thousands of people affected and their children to recover both physically.
This is the worst tragedy I remember in my 57 years, period. And why did we have to have someone from England taking a job here that a U.S. white male or white female should have? More bullshit.
And of course mentally from what the trauma that they have been through.
No doubt, Jonathan. I know you mentioned your daughter attended Pali High and you were waiting for an update, and now we know 30% of that high school destroyed, as these children wonder whether they'll return to remote learning. But returning to those tiles for a moment, I was so struck by the crosses that were painted. I saw a little girl's name, Stella, painted out. You mentioned parents going there to recover the tile of their preschooler. Were you able to talk to any of these parents, observe them? I imagine that has to be so incredibly emotional.
Yeah, and as we walk back towards that church and that preschool, and I put Brian Ullman through more difficulties for him as a cameraman, I hope he'll forgive me. But as we walk back towards where those tiles were, we talked to the parents. A lot of them did not want to be on camera because they are still, frankly, Kaylee, so traumatized by this, and they're coming up here and they're processing that trauma. And part of that processing of the trauma is to come here and do things like that and just get what they can in terms of a memory, a small memory. You're looking at Stella, Maxwell, Henry, all of these names, and people just dealing with the trauma is to save something, anything. These are people who are walking up here just with a bag of possessions, all they could get from their home. This is just one more thing that they can take and keep, and it's part of what helps them, we hope,
Guys, I've lost 2 homes. We've lost every picture we've ever had, every momentum, every trophy, every reward we ever got. Those are all just things. One day, everyone will realize those are all just things, and we have to keep moving on as a community.
Through all of this, Kaylee.
Jonathan, thank you. Those children and your family are in our prayers. Well, as we mentioned, these fires have left at least 10 people dead and over 10,000 homes and other buildings totally destroyed to rubble. Now, those numbers tragically are expected to rise. And Bill Malusian is near the Palisades fire in West LA, the most destructive wildfire in the city's history. Bill, you said you've seen nothing like this.
Kaylee, I haven't. We are here in the Pacific Palisades, which has just been completely scorched, and we're seeing a pretty emotional scene behind us right now. We don't know these 2 gentlemen. It appears to be a father and son. They just walked past us. It appears this is the first time they are seeing their property here. The younger gentleman is crying. He's looking around. We heard him say, "There's just nothing left. There's nothing." Again, we don't want to assume too much. We haven't had a chance to talk to them. They walked by us. They went through the front.
I've been there twice with my father in the rubble after hurricanes. And you know what? When there's not even a teaspoon left or a picture or any momentum or anything, it's really hard.
Front gate, and they both appear to be emotional. It appears that this would be their property, and this would be the first time they're having a chance to show up here and sift through what's left of it. We don't know if it's a father-son, but the younger gentleman was very, very emotional. As soon as he came around this corner here, he put his hands over his face once he saw the house. We did hear him say, there's nothing left. It sounds like he was hoping that there'd be maybe something he could pull from the rubble. So we'll let them have their moment there. We don't want to be too intrusive, but we want to show you what's happened to the rest of the neighborhood here. This is the intersection of Rimmer and Whitfield, and that story is going to be played out thousands of times. We have 5,000 destroyed structures at least here at this Pacific Palisades fire. We can pan down here. Every single house on the street here, Rimmer, has been completely wiped out. It's just the foundations. It's just stunning to see. Really, some of the only things we're seeing left intact with these houses, Keith, you can show, it looks like we've seen this with several of the houses we've passed by. The water mains are broken. We know there were serious issues with the water the night of the fire, but many of these houses, we can pan down a little bit further, just have gush.
You know, I do feel for these people, but we went back to basements or no house at all. One basement, a 3-story house, 3-car garage. The house was found 5 miles, parts of the house 5 miles away. And then for Ike, that was Katrina. For Ike, well, it was a complete loss. So it's tough. It's tough. Been there, done that.
Gushing water now. After the homes collapsed and their lines broke, and you can see how wet the streets are. Every single street is like this, just gushing water, apparently down to the ocean. But basically, every single home here at this intersection of Whitfield and Rimmer is wiped out. These homes are higher up on the hills. They were likely some of the first homes impacted when these flames came rushing through here on Tuesday morning. But it's just heart-wrenching to see. We haven't seen a whole lot of residents coming through here. There's been so many police checkpoints. It's very difficult to get in here. And Keith, we can wheel around one more time to these two gentlemen as...
And that's how it was for us, too, to get to Beach Boulevard. Both of our homes were on Beach Boulevard, one in Biloxi, Mississippi, one in Ike down across from NASA. There were, well, military everywhere, and they were only letting people in the area that belonged in the area. And that's a godsend.
You know, it's I can only imagine. It's just heart-wrenching. We can hear him, you know, sobbing from here. To have everything you have gone just like that at the snap of the fingers, with how fast this fire moved. Unfortunately, it's a story that is playing out with thousands of people right now, and a lot of people are going to need help. And once folks are able to get up here and actually take a look at their properties, see what is and what isn't anymore,
Let's take a minute to think about the people in Tennessee and North Carolina, and not think about these people in Malibu, the Pacific Palisades. Ridiculous, right? What they're doing is destroying America, and I'm sure Biden's behind it. He's getting paid, period. And gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I always thought that Obama was the worst president ever. I always saw through him more than so many other people did. And now even his own kind see through him. But you know what? Biden has no shame. He had all the top secret documents in his garage without any clearance. Trump had all the clearances and nothing was ever done to Biden? I'm so confused.
It's just tough, guys. You know, there's going to be a ton of people that need help, and everybody is watching the coverage of these fires, probably on different local TV channels. They're not able to know what happened to their home, and these are some of the first folks finally trickling in here, getting eyes on, you know, what happened here, and it's just tough to see. But Pacific Palisades has essentially been wiped off the map, a large chunk of it. I'll send it back to you.
Bill, that is such a jarring image, that young man. I can't imagine rounding your corner and your entire home, all the memories, everything where you grew up, just reduced to a war zone. Keep us up.
Keep us updated. Kelly, you're awesome. Keep fighting the good fight. Obviously, a $3 bill, as usual, LA. God bless each and every one of you guys. Please share, please subscribe. Always remember, anything's possible in Bizarro World.